1 in 3. That's how many American men will face physical violence, sexual assault, or stalking by an intimate partner. 1 in 3 women worldwide will endure physical or sexual abuse, most often by someone they know. But domestic abuse isn't just bruises. It's manipulation, it's fear, it's control that seeps into every part of your life. I'm Ingrid Dutton, and I survived it. Then I created 1 in 3 so no one else has to suffer in silence. Each week, we break that silence together. Occasionally joined by survivors, loved ones, and experts, we talk about the pain, yes, but also about the healing, resilience, and the fight to reclaim your life. This podcast is more than awareness, it's a lifeline. And a reminder, you are seen, you are heard, you are never alone. Search for 1 in 3 wherever you get your podcasts, because every voice matters and every story deserves to be heard. German educator Friedrick Frobel was born April 21st. He founded the first play and activity institute called Kindergarten in 1837. Kindergarten in mid-19th century German means children's garden.
Oh, that's
Frobel, Frobel, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, is F-R-O with 2 dots over it, B-E-L, thought children should be allowed to follow their own interests and freely explore them. And that's why we celebrate Kindergarten Day on April 21st. Hello and happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you too, sister.
Thanks. How was yours?
It was pretty quiet. Well, aside from sugared up children, it was pretty quiet. Just us here at the house. How was yours?
Exhausting. Anyway, kindergarten.
So kindergarten started in Germany.
Yes.
That makes sense though, thinking about the actual word, the word itself. Just thinking about the word, it makes sense. Like beer garden.
Ah, yes.
That's my German exposure.
Prost.
Das Boot.
Okay, well, here's a few facts. I was just about to say I started looking at facts, but I don't know them, but I do. They're right here. There are 3.5 million kindergarten students in the United States each year. There are only 18 states in the United States that require kids to go to kindergarten.
Really?
Yeah. Most states require for kids to be 5 years old in order to enroll in kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
New York, New Jersey, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania will take kids younger than 5.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah. I know Texas is required down here, and you have to be, I think I talked to you about this. My daughter turns 5 like 2 weeks before the cutoff. So she's going to be a super young kindergartner, super young student in her class. She's going to be so young.
Yes, she will be.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 2 that are older because their birthdays are September and November. My June boy
Mm-hmm.
is a bit young. So I looked up, benefits of kindergarten, or it strengthens social and emotional skills and it boosts academic achievements, which is obvious.
What 18 states require kindergarten?
I didn't look it up.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I was just curious.
It's weird though, right? That only 18.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was required, I guess, everywhere. Because we had to go to pre-K. I went to pre-kindergarten.
We didn't have to. Our parents didn't know what else to do with us.
Well, true, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I have fantastic memories from it.
Ooh, I have one big memory. A kid stapled his thumb in pre-K.
Ooh,
I don't know why.
what
I
was he
mean,
doing with a stapler?
he stuck his thumb under the stapler and hit it.
Mm, boys,
Ugh,
I could see my son doing that.
I could probably.
What other facts do you have?
That's it.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have a lot. Let's get some stories in. So we wanted to do this kindergarten special. I think we may have said it in a previous episode, but we've
Mhm.
had some heavy hitter episodes, and this one was just kindergartners are funny
And cute.
and cute. Unless you're a teacher. I mean, maybe they could be monsters. Well, we all know they can be monsters.
Hmm.
I have a couple kindergarten situations from people in Chattanooga. So one of them is from my friend Anne, which first of all, I have to give a oh, I need my horn. Shout
No,
out.
you don't. It's not a thing. That is not going to be a thing. Don't make that a thing. Please, dear God.
So anyway, this woman is freaking amazing. So I took my kids down to Gulf Shores for our half of spring break. And last year I took them to Destin, and I had a friend tell me, like, was amazed. You drove all that way with 3 kids by yourself. You did all this by yourself, which, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. Anne hitched a camper on the back of a pickup truck and loaded her 3 kids and drove them throughout Alabama, went camping at multiple sites, and did all this with just herself and her 3 kids.
Hmm.
And rolled into church today. And I'm like, oh, when did you get back into town? And she's like, oh, about 10 minutes ago. And I go, no, not to church. When did you get back in town? And she looks at me and said, 10 minutes ago, I'm parked in the parking lot. And she got all of her kids into the church
Hmm.
after I can't, my mind is blown. She's going to do it this summer for 3 weeks. She's going through like the Midwest.
Oh, that's cool.
It's cool. It's impressive. I can't do that. And I know you listen to this. Don't ever think about inviting me along because that can't happen. Okay. So anyway, she has twin boys, and there was one time in kindergarten, one of her boys was standing in his classroom's line, and the other teacher was yelling at him to to get back into her line. Like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be here. And he tried explaining, and she wasn't listening. And then finally, somebody stepped in and said, "Oh yeah, no, they're twins, and that one's in my class." The other one she had is when she was a substitute teacher, and there was brain break time. And so she's just watching the class, and there's a kid kind of with his head down. And when he puts his head up, she noticed that he had cut his hair with his scissors while there was.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
Do you remember when I cut my hair?
yeah, I was going to ask you, how old were you?
I was probably around kindergarten age.
Yeah, I think so. I
Cut them
probably
super short, like down to like,
your bangs, right?
no, they weren't even bangs. Like I cut my bangs down to like the scalp.
No, but it was just your bang area. It wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
I probably encouraged you to do it.
I don't know. I don't remember you being there. I just remember looking at myself in the mirror thinking I wanted to cut my hair.
No, you know what I was there for is we cut our doll's hair because remember there was a commercial for that. What was that doll called? Where the hair would grow?
Oh, I don't know.
That was all me then. I remember cutting doll's hair, thinking it was going to grow back and crying when we got in trouble because the hair would not grow back. Okay, so I have another one. This is from Miss Carrie in Chattanooga, and she is also a teacher, but I believe these stories are about her own kids. So her oldest child is 19 right now, but this is when he was in kindergarten. He was eating his lunch at school in the lunchroom, and he looked like something was bothering him. So his teacher came over to him and asked him what was wrong. He started smiling and told her that his dad was going to jail today. And she became really worried. So she called his mom, Miss Carrie, and got the air cleared. So the story is his dad had a route for his work and had to deliver chemicals and soap to the jail. And so he was not actually going to jail. And she said, I'll never forget how worried his teacher was. We still laugh about it today.
Sweet teacher.
I know, that was nice. She called. Like, oh, is your husband going to jail? Are you okay? And her other story is her younger son, who is currently 16. When he was in kindergarten, the teacher had 4 kids at her work table who were all reading to themselves. And she said, of course, it was super quiet. Then her son decided to start singing. I can appreciate this. Started to sing Talk Dirty to Me at the top of his lungs.
By Poison?
I mean, who doesn't love a good Bret Michaels?
Oh my
God. She said the teacher called that afternoon, was dying laughing and telling her what he did. And she said, needless to say, we paid closer attention to what was playing on the radio in the car. Wait, so hold on, Carrie. I'm doing the math here. So that was 12 years ago. That was you should have been listening to Poison. They had moved, you should have been moved on to other music by then.
But it's Poison.
But it is Poison. Did I tell you when I got to see Bret Michaels?
I mean, I know you did.
So then I must have told you.
Yes.
All right. And then let's see. I have another story from a kindergarten teacher herself from Chattanooga. And I forgot to clarify if I could say the school or her name. So it's not bad. But she's hilarious. I love this lady. Anyway, she said the first day of teaching ever, she had a kid come up and ask if she were a virgin.
Oh my God.
She said, I just stood there paralyzed. And then she said one of her favorites is when a sweet boy told me someone said a very bad word. So she asked what word, and he said it's the E word. And so she asked him to whisper it to her, and it was idiots.
Oh.
How adorable is that, though?
That is cute.
Goodness, she has so many funny ones. I see her post things all the time. One that I see commonly is people ask her what she wants to do when she grows up.
The kids do?
Yes. So those are my local Chattanooga kindergarten stories. Okay, I think I have a couple online. Do you want to read the ones that we got from our family while I look up the online ones?
Sure. Okay, so here they didn't say if we could say their names, so I'm not going to. It's just going to be some from family.
No, say their names. Just their first name. You don't have to say their first and last name.
Okay. So our cousin Debbie wrote in. She said, it seems like in kindergarten, I was always having something go wrong due to my feet and being klutzy. One time we all had the large finger paintings and we all made laying on the floor drying. And I tried to tiptoe around them and fell right on a big wet yellow one. Good thing my dad rescued me with a clean dress, which I absolutely love that she was wearing a dress to kindergarten. So cute. And the second time, it had been a snowy week, and instead of going up the stairs, I decided to walk up the lawn, and yep, I got stuck. I couldn't pull my feet out. Oh, this is in Wisconsin, just so you guys know. Luckily, about 10 minutes later, a student saw me, and the janitor rescued me. Well, that was many years ago, and we even drank out of glass milk bottles. So it's like, poor little girl. She was walking up the hill and got stuck in the snow and had to get saved by the janitor.
Okay, I'm going to ride on that story because I was also in kindergarten, and we've said this many times. We also lived in Wisconsin, and we had the bus picked us up and took us to school.
Mm-hmm.
And
we didn't own a snowplow in our driveway, and it was a longer driveway.
Right. And it was freezing cold. So we would sit in the kitchen and do you remember and look out the window down the road, waiting, looking for the bus and
off running. Yes.
So my little short self am trying to run down this driveway, this unplowed, snowy driveway, and like flipping my legs around, like, circling them because I can't lift them up out of the snow. And I turned around and realized my backpack was open. And so I had markers falling out of my backpack as I'm trying to leap over the snow and catch the bus. And I stopped and I started crying because I had no idea what I was supposed to do because the bus driver was like laying on the horn for me to get moving. And so I can't remember which bus driver it was. There was a nice one. Mr. Petey was super nice. He wouldn't have honked the horn, but whoever the bus driver was sent another kid off the bus to come help me. And he's like, just grab your markers. I'm like, I don't know where they went. So you had to look and see the little holes in the snow from where the markers fell into. Anyway, Debbie, I know somewhat how you feel. I didn't get stuck and have to wait for somebody to rescue me, but that snow's brutal when you have little legs.
Okay. This one's from Trish. My kindergarten bus broke down on the way home from school, and I cried because I didn't think I was going to get home. Funny thing is the bus broke down only a few yards from our driveway. It was basically a 2-minute walk. Like the tragedy when you're a child. Like,
yes.
I think this is the last one. This is about our cousins. Kara and Mickey always rode the bus to school. One day when they came home, Mickey told me that Kara hit a boy on the bus with one of her clogs. Kara was in kindergarten at the time, and she said he tried to kiss her on the bus. She wasn't having any of that, so she took her shoe off and hit him with it. The bus driver thought it was funny, and he didn't blame her.
Okay, so I can see Kara doing that now.
I could see. She said she remembers the boy's name. I won't say his name because...
Why? Who cares?
All right, his name is Chad. So any Chad out there that got hit with a clog, if you're listening, it was our cousin.
We'd apologize, but I'm proud of that.
I am also proud of her for that. And our uncle joked around and said that, actually, I don't think he's joking. He said he's so old that he didn't have to go to kindergarten.
Oh, Uncle Mike. On Fridays, the kindergartners would get their faces painted. And now these are just random people online. They would get their faces painted in the afternoon. Most of the kids want to be dinosaurs, fairies, or unicorns. And one little girl asked to be God. This one, once when I worked as a lunch lady, one of my favorite kindergartners was getting ready to run out for recess when I stopped her and said, Hannah, you should wash your face before you go out. There's spaghetti sauce all over it. She took off anyway, screaming, it's my war paint. This one's not kindergarten, but this one actually cracks me up. There was a teacher that had a Captain America t-shirt on, and the kid went up to him and said, "You look like Captain America before he got all the injections."
Ouch.
One of my little kids who weighed about 80 pounds at the time walked in late from recess. When I asked him why he was late, he grabbed his hunk of a belly with both hands and said, "The ladies love this," and sat down like nothing happened.
He was a kindergartner? Oh my God.
Right. That's all I have for those. Do you want to tell some of our own?
Sure. I only have 2 memories from kindergarten. One of them, so in our house, we lived in the country, and our basement window was like cut out. There was a cutout and there was a piece of metal in there. So we would have, sometimes there'd be toads that would hang out in that window. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Are you going to talk about us playing with toads?
I'm going to talk about me playing with toads. So what, you didn't go to school that day. I don't know where you were. And it was just me. And I was like, I'm lonely. I want to take a toad with me to school. So I put a toad.
What?
I put a toad in the pocket of my backpack, and I kept it in there all day long. And then when it was nap time, I was like, "This is a great time to get out my toad and show all my friends my toad." And so instead of nap time, we all sat there and played with my toad. And Mrs. Humpkey never caught on. I just put it back in my backpack, and then when I got back home, I put it back in the little window.
It lived through the whole day?
It did. It totally did. It was cute. It was one of the little baby ones. You know how like we'd always find like different sizes? It was a little baby one. Yeah. I brought a toad to school, and teacher never knew. It lived in my backpack.
Oh my gosh. I cannot believe that he lived.
My other memory from kindergarten is embarrassing. We were taking a test, some kind of test. And so Mrs. Humke stepped out of the room. I don't know. It felt like an hour, but she was probably only gone like 10 minutes. I had to pee so bad, so insanely bad. And I was such a little rule follower and terrified of doing anything wrong that I sat in my seat and I was like, I just got to wait till Mrs. Humke gets back so you can ask her if you can go to the bathroom. Like you can't get out of your seat and go to the bathroom unless you ask her. And so finally she walks back into our classroom. I couldn't hold it. And I just yell at the top of my lungs, "Mrs. Helmke, I peed my pants." And then I had to wear pants from the Lost and Found for the rest of the day.
Oh, well, as a kindergarten teacher, I'm sure that is not the first nor the last that ever happened to her.
No, those are my 2 memories of kindergarten.
Okay. Well, I have a memory of you in your first day of kindergarten riding the bus. You will remember this when I start telling it. So the bus route that we took, we would stop at multiple elementary schools before we got to our school. And Jessica and I mean, you may not believe it now because we have a freaking podcast and we don't stop talking, but we were mute when we were little and we were afraid. I mean, you just told the story of how you were afraid to say you had to go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And so we
were brought up with children should be seen and not heard.
Yes.
Yes.
And we actually listened to that. I mean, I tell that to my kids all the time. It doesn't work. So just always afraid to speak up. And I remember sitting on the bus. That's when we did not have it was not Mr. Petey anymore. It was that lady and she was mean.
I just remember Miss Diane and I loved her.
No, this was the mean one that she got us. Remember, she would get us confused with the other 2 sisters that were bad.
I don't remember her at all.
I think they were Middle Eastern and she thought we all looked the same. One of them was named Alexis, I think. And they were always bad. They were always getting in trouble. And I remember that she like kept us on the bus long. There was like a punishment or something. But she was targeting you. She kept saying it was you that did something. And I'm like, it wasn't her. It was the other girl. And then so she was getting mad at me.
Oh, thanks for sticking up for me.
Yeah. Well, when I do speak,
I'm sure I didn't speak. I just sat there mute.
you did, and you just took it. And you're like, okay.
All right, sorry.
Anyway, that was not kindergarten. Anyway, your first day of kindergarten, we had the multiple stops, and I was scared to talk at all on the bus because it was terrifying. Because
It was terrifying.
It was even hard to get a seat on the bus because you had those jerks that would slide over to the outside. I mean, you see it in the movies, like you're walking down the bus and they slide to the outside of their seat so you can't fit in. And what was it? You could have 3 to a seat, I think.
3 littles.
Yes. So then I find the first seat that has 2 and I sit down and you squished yourself in too. And
Alex sounds terrified.
Yeah. And I'm like, you can't sit here. You can't sit here. And you're like, well, where am I supposed to go? And so we looked quick. We found a seat, which was behind me. So then you sat there and we stopped at, I want to say it was like Lemon Wire. Wasn't that a name of a school? So I think we stopped there and I'm just kind of looking around and all of a sudden I turn and I look and I see you bebop past me like you're getting off. And my mute self, I'm like, I was like,
are you going to say the stapler guy?
From The Office, the movie, right?
Yes.
That's my stapler. That's my stapler. But it's my birthday. I'd like a piece of cake, but it's my birthday. That's exactly what I did, though, because I was sitting there and I was like, "That's my sister." Oh, you're dying again. But I just sat there and I was like, that's my sister. It's her first day of school. She's not this is not her school. We don't go to school here. She's not supposed to get off the bus here. And I didn't say anything out loud. I just said it like that. And I continued to watch you go further and further toward the front of the bus. You know what? No, that was the nice bus driver. That wasn't the mean one, because she did stop you and she said, do you remember this now? What she said something to you, like, I don't think you go to school here or something.
I just remember this from you telling me it. I don't have a memory of it at all.
I remember, like, I'm like staring at the back of your head, and then how you could see the mirror above the bus driver, and you can see when they look up, and you can see their eyes. And I think
You must have looked panicked.
I looked terrified because I didn't know what to do, because then I thought, well, I guess when I get to school, I'm going to have to tell my teacher to call my parents and have them call that school to let them know that Jessica's not supposed to be at that school, which was like probably another, 20 minutes before we got to our school.
Oh, yes, because I think we were the last stop.
So anyway, you get to the front and the bus driver said something to you, and I see her look in that mirror, and I looked panicked, and I was like, slightly shaking my head no, because I didn't want to forcibly shake my head no. So just little, like, look like I was, twitching. Anyway, you came running back and you tried to sit with me again. Because now you're embarrassed and terrified. And I'm like, that's not our school, Jessica. That's not our school. Why are you going? And I
remember super loud to me.
I know. And then you're like, I thought I saw you. I thought that was you. And I'm like, that wasn't me. Obviously. Anyway, that was your first day of kindergarten.
Maybe that's why I only have 2 memories of kindergarten. I blocked it all out after that.
You repressed all
Don't
the
keep
rest
this
of it.
memory.
So I have 2 more memories of myself for kindergarten. So when we were younger, mom works the late shift. So she would get home around midnight.
Mhm.
And when we would get up and go to school in the morning or get ready for school, most of the time it was dad getting us ready.
Mhm.
And I had a pair of skirts that I wore to school, which dad apparently didn't understand that clothing has a tag that goes in the back. Um,
My
and
4-year-old understands that.
so dad thought it was some weirdo fashion trend and put both of my legs into one hole, like one leg hole, and had the other leg hole poofed up behind me. So I must have been walking like a tiny little geisha
Or a duck.
or a duck or a penguin or something. But
Wild.
somehow I got on the bus. I don't know how I got up the steps of the bus or down the steps of the bus like that, because surely I did not ask for help. And when I finally got to school, Mrs. Helmke saw me and she immediately came up to me. She said, "Oh, honey, did daddy help you get dressed this morning?" And my mute self again, I just nodded my head, didn't speak. And she said, let's go help you. And she took me to the bathroom and fixed me. Thanks, Dad. Another school bus story of me in kindergarten. So we went to a private school. Don't get all excited. We weren't like, it wasn't like a super rich private school.
No.
But anyway, it was a Lutheran school, and as private schools do, they don't necessarily follow the county school schedule. And I rode the bus, the entire bus route that morning. And we pull up to the school, and Mr. Petey, God bless him, looks in the mirror and said, "Hey, sweetie, you don't have school today." And mom and dad sent me to school. So I'm like, well, what does that mean? I don't know what is going to happen. So he dropped me off at the pastor's house, who then called mom and dad. I don't know that he actually ever got them, but he drove me to the house. And I remember mom answering the door in a frenzy, like all frantic. Like almost to where I felt like she didn't know I was getting dropped off. And I don't know where you were.
I was actually thinking of that. Where did I go when you were in kindergarten? I have no idea.
I don't know.
Because that was like 2 years. Because I was 2 years behind you.
Yes, you still are.
I mean, I meant in school. I know. I was
Did you
3
catch
years
up?
behind you. I was 3 years behind you in school.
Oh, yes, you were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I think I'm going to text our parents right now.
Coming to you live on another situation. Jessica confronts our parents.
Speaking of dad, this isn't a kindergarten story either, but I have a dad story.
That's fun.
So it was the day before pictures. I want to say, I think it was second grade, and I needed my hair cut. Like my hair, for some reason, like something was really wrong with my hair. So dad was
something was always wrong with your hair. So dad, you had. I'm sorry, but you had terrible.
I had crazy hair.
You had a rat tail at one point.
That's the story I'm telling.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
So dad decides to cut my hair, and he puts me in a chair, like in the living room at that little spot that has like linoleum, or it used to have linoleum there. And so we're sitting there, and he asked me what I wanted. And I think I said I wanted a rat tail. So dad cut me a rat tail for school pictures. And I think I even
Oh, it was for
pulled
school
it.
pictures.
It was for school pictures. So by the front of me is like short hair, short hair up front, and then a rat tail in the back. I remember when they actually took us to a hair salon to get our hair done the next time, and the lady's like, "I can't wait to cut this off," and like she's straight up cut off my rat tail.
So if you want to talk about school pictures, the ugliest school picture ever in the history of anybody is me in second grade, or maybe it was first or second. And I had a boy haircut. My hair was so super, super short. And I was dressed in,
Was it the brown outfit?
the brown outfit.
I know
It was
what
like
you're talking about.
a long sleeve brown paisley with like a brown jumper.
Ugh.
That whenever, and I'm missing my front two teeth. And I had those massive bags under my eyes until I was like 18.
Mm-hmm.
And then they finally went away. But the ugliest picture of anyone ever. There has to be a meme out there somewhere
Of you.
of me. Okay. So anyway, so back to kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
We had messaged family to see if they had any stories. So obviously, Jessica just went through those, but our dad replied and said, I had my oldest daughter, which is me, tell me I could go home when I dropped her off because she knew how to do it and where to go. So that immediately reminded me of my oldest's first day of kindergarten. And so my middle child was in pre-K, and which was right next to the kindergarten classroom. Not right next, but just down the hallway from the kindergarten classroom. So we go to walk him down and drop him off. And I'm talking to the pre-K teacher because it's the same one who had my oldest the previous year. And we're chit-chatting, and she's like, well, how do you think he's going to do with kindergarten? And I'm like, I think he's excited. And I turn around and I'm like, right? Say hi to Miss Sarah. And he was gone. And I'm like, where did he go? So I run out and I look down the hallway, and he's almost to the kindergarten door, just walking down the hallway. And I yelled at him. I'm like, hey. And he stops. He turned around and he looks at me, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he threw his hands in the air and he's like, I'm going to kindergarten, and turned around and continued on.
Oh.
And I stood there and I cried. So to all the kindergartners who love our podcast and listen to it, you guys need to stop and turn around and give your parents that final look. Okay.
I have an answer to our listeners that are probably dying to find out the answer.
Oh, they are. Yeah. Live.
Yes, this just in. This just in from our father. If we had to work, he went to Goldie's the babysitter. So that's where I went.
Which was across the street from my school. So why did I not just get dropped? So clearly the pastor did not get a hold of either of our parents, because they would have said, just have her walk a block down and go to the babysitter.
Yes.
Hence mom's franticness. She probably got woken up out of her sleep to find the pastor and her daughter at the front door. Oh.
But if mom was home sleeping, I'm surprised I wouldn't be there.
Well, you probably didn't although we were mutes. So why even have a babysitter for us? Just stick us in a room.
Exactly. And it was the latchkey 80s where they left their 8-year-old to watch their 5-year-olds.
Right. Oh, we're going to have a latchkey episode.
Oh, goodness. I bet you we get a lot of responses on that one.
Yes. Okay. So I just have one more. So when my middle son was in kindergarten, that was the 2019 to 2020 school year. And of course, the second half of the school, I know, crazy, right? 2nd half of
Mm-hmm.
the school year, the world was shut down. And so we had virtual learning, and she was great. She was on top of it. She would send out assignments, and I wanted a little bit extra for my first grader to do at the time. And so I messaged her because I knew her son was in first grade. And she immediately set up this account for my first grader and sent first grade classwork for him as well for us to do. And now I'm going to go ahead and say her name. Ann Bolden in Chattanooga is one of the best kindergarten teachers I've ever met in my life. She is hilarious. She is fun. She had both of my boys for kindergarten, and I was so happy for her to have my second son. I was worried that we were going to be switching schools, and all I kept thinking was he needs to have Mrs. Bolden. And one of the things that I remember when we had a parent teacher conference with my oldest is that she said she noticed he was quiet, and quiet kids is always a bit concerning because you're not sure why they're quiet. And over time, she realized it's because he too is a rule follower. And she would say, sit down, quiet, be quiet. And he would sit and he would be quiet and listen for instruction. And recognizing that he was a smart kid, she said, you know what, he's a leader and I'm going to have him be a leader. So she would do things to pull him out of his shell and say, hey, how do you think your friends would respond to this? What do you think we should do? How should we approach this? And how should we introduce this to the class? And it was amazing because he's a lot like me. He's a bit reserved and, kind of analyzes things before he feels comfortable enough to engage. And his teachers will still say that even now. But she recognized that in kindergarten. And I thought that was just such a cool thing. And he really blossomed because she recognized that. And of course, my middle son is a cartoon. And so I'm sure she had a blast with him. But she is, like I said, one of the most amazing, well, I think the most amazing kindergarten teacher I've ever come across. Mm-hmm. So, oh
God. I don't know what's worse, actual noise or you imitating the noise.
Shout out Ann Bolden, Chattanooga. You're awesome. So that brings me to the next thing. So because it's kindergarten day on Thursday, some of you may be dying to figure out how can I celebrate kindergarten day. But just a couple of things to keep in mind. Show appreciation to kindergarten teachers. These are the people who are prepping our kids, your kids, to learn to know what's expected. Oh shoot, I forgot. I have more stories from another teacher. Anyway, appreciate your kindergarten teachers. Maybe you send them a little note, say something nice to them, volunteer, maybe see if they need some help with volunteering. This is from a kindergarten teacher at Boyd Buchanan School in Chattanooga. And these are the stories that she had. Okay, so the teacher, who can tell me who celebrated the first Thanksgiving? Students asked if it was their grandparents or the 12 disciples.
Nothing to be
Nothing. Nope. It's one or the other. And then, so the teacher says this, the name of this book is Diary of a Tadpole. Who can tell me what a diary is? And one of the students answered, it's when your tummy is really sick and your poop is really runny. So that was another one.
Cute.
Yeah. Be nice to your kindergarten teachers. Tell them how much they're appreciated. Do some volunteer work for them. And you can read about Friedrick Frobel.
And I know some of the teachers over here, they actually have Amazon wish lists on Amazon, and you can because they stock up snacks and stuff for some kids who they forget their snack or get sent with one.
Anything, but I looked up cute kindergarten quotes. So I thought we could end with a few of these. Anything is possible. Anything can be. Shel Silverstein. Why fit in when you were born to stand out?
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Seuss.
Unless you're a Dutton growing up in Tomo, Wisconsin, then you just stay mute.
Work hard, be kind, and amazing things will happen. Conan O'Brien. I know. I love that he can say something so profound. All right, Conan. Only surround yourself with people who will lift you higher. Oprah Winfrey. The most important day of a person's education is the first day of school, not graduation day. That's Harry Wong, The First Days of School, How to Be an Effective Teacher. School is a building which has 4 walls with tomorrow inside. Lawn waters. Learning is a treasure that will follow its owner everywhere. And that is a Chinese proverb. My absolute favorite. So be sure when you step with care and great tact. And remember, life's a great balancing act. And will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. Kid, you'll move mountains. By Dr. Seuss. Oh, the places you'll go. And that's kindergarten.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, and thanks to everybody who shared. Mm-hmm. That was fun. Next week, talking with Elise Anderson, who she's going to discuss her new podcast called This Is What I Know. And it's regarding the homeless, specifically in Chattanooga, the homeless situation in Chattanooga. But Jessica previously worked with homeless
in Orlando.
Mm-hmm. And so it'll be, I think, a good topic. And then kind of we'll, bridge it over into Elise's full podcast. I listened to her first episode, and she only has 1 episode out so far, but she plans on having quite a few guests on, which will, I think, be very interesting. But looking forward to having her on with us next week.
Yes, I look forward to that.
And that, I think, ought to do it. How do you say goodbye in kindergarten?
I don't know. My daughter just walks out of her classroom. Like, her friends try to say bye and give her a hug, and she just walks out.
It's just like mic drop and walk out. All right. Well, then.
If you'd like to reach out to us or submit your situation, please contact us at anothersituationpodcast@gmail.com or find us on Instagram at Another Situation Podcast. We're also on Facebook at Another Situation.
Another Situation is produced and edited by Point 5 Pinoy. Music is written and performed by Tim Crow.